Hello YouTube, hello guys, welcome to another exciting day. Welcome to my channel, welcome to YJ Digital World. I am your host Agu Joseph. So currently we are in the festive period, and on today's tutorial video I'll be walking you through on how to create a season's greeting flyer for Christmas precisely using Photoshop 2023. If you are new to the channel and this sounds interesting to you, do well to smash the subscribe button. If you have not done that, do well to smash the subscribe button. Turn on the post notification bell to get notification whenever I upload new content on my channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always watching, guys. So in order for me to create this design, all I have to do first is to create a Canva on which we create the design on. So I'll come over here and click on new file. So the new document panels comes up. So over here, we'll give our project a name. We'll call this Christmas. Okay. Then over here, we'll set our unit of measurement in pixels precisely. We are making use of the Instagram portrait frame size, okay, which is 1080 by 1350. Resolution remains on 300. Color mode is set on RGB precisely. Then you leave other settings the way they are and click on the create button. So over here, I have the Canva workspace on which we will be designing the flyer precisely. So I have to drag in the exercise files for this project. So over here, I've dragged in all the exercise files I'll be using for this tutorial purpose. So the link to this exercise files is in the video description. Do well to check the video description for the link to the exercise file. Okay. So in order for me to create the background, which is the first phase of this design, I'll have to create a gradient fill for this. So I'll come over here on my adjustment and click on gradients precisely. So on the gradient fill, I expand all the way to the gradient editor. On the gradient editor, I've already created a preset of gradients I'll be using. So on this end, here is a color code for the color I'm actually using over here. While on this other end, okay, here is a hex code for the color I'm actually using over here. Okay, so after you're done with that, you click on the OK button. So under the gradient field, I'll change the style to radial, enable the reverse option, and scale up this to about, okay, I think this is okay. So I'll scale it to about this and click on the OK button. So after I'm done with that, I'll enable this texture image precisely, hit Ctrl T, hold Alt to scale out, okay, hold Alt left click and scale out like this and click on the OK button. After you're done with this, the next thing I'll advise is to change the blending mode to this precisely. Okay, this blending mode works perfectly well with the color. So I'll come over here to filter all the way to blur and apply the Gaussian blur on this. So I will scale this down to a radius of about this precisely. I don't like the texture to be visible, okay, because the texture serves as the background. So I need the background to represent the background, and what should be on the foreground should be visible on the foreground precisely. So the next thing I have to do after doing this is to drag this PNG over here. Okay, this PNG, hit Ctrl T and scale it up precisely to about something like this. Click on the check. Okay, after you're done with that, the next thing you have to do is to change the blending mode to, let me see, I think this works perfectly well. Then scale down the opacity to a very minimum size. Okay, so I can leave this for this, so you can see this is the effect on the Canva. Okay, so after we are done with that, I would like to add a feel of noise effect on the Canva. So I hit Ctrl Shift N and create a new layer, call this noise precisely. Change this to soft light, enable the 50% gray and click on the OK button. Right click to convert the layer to a smart object. Slide over to filter all the way to noise and add noise precisely. I think this noise radius is good enough for this project. So I'll click on OK. So I don't need the noise to be heavy on the background. So after I'm done with that, select this layer, hold shift, select the gradients layer, holding shift. So hit Ctrl G to group this and call this BG, which stands for my background precisely. So the next has to do with the placing of the theme. Okay, so I'll come over here and enable this. Okay, this is the board I'll be using. So I'll right click to convert it to a smart object. Converting a layer to a smart object enables me to maintain quality whenever I scale up and scale down without losing the image actual quality. So I'll scale this out like this. Okay, holding Alt and place it to somewhere around here like this precisely. Scale this down a little like this. So I'll click on the check button. That's for that. So the next thing I would like to do is to add some adjustment layout to this. So I'll come over here and add levels to this precisely. Click on the clip mark so that it will only affect the board precisely. So I'll add a fill of shadow to this, okay, to a little minimum precisely. So this is without and this is with the adjustment layer. So after I'm done with that, I'll move to applying a gradient map on this. So make sure you select the thumbnail for the gradient, not the vector max layer. Please select this, okay, and click on clip max precisely. So expand the gradient, okay, and on this gradient editor, I'll scroll down over here. I'll be making use a preset of this precisely for my gradients, okay. So on this end, here is the hex code to the column I'm using on this end, while on this other far end, here is a hex code to the column I'm actually using. So I'll click on the OK button, click on the OK button for this. After I'm done with this, I'll have to change the blending mode for this precisely. So let me say, okay, this will work perfectly well for this like this. Okay, so after we are done with that, the next thing I would like to do is to group the layer. So I'll come over here, hold shift, select this layer, hit Ctrl G and call this BG, which stands call this board precisely. Okay, that's for that. So the next thing has to do with adding of the theme, okay, the theme text. So I'll pick my text tool over here, okay. So I'll pick my text. So I'll come over here and pick my text tool, left click and type in the text, which is the Merry Christmas text precisely. Okay, then make sure it is aligned to the middle. Okay, I'm using the centralized alignment. So come over here under your character panel. In case you don't have your character panel over here, you can enable it from the windows and click on character panel precisely. So I'll be changing the font for this to Cleverland. Okay, the name of the font I'll be using for this is called Cleverland precisely. So for this, I will have to change the fill color. Okay, I'll be changing the fill color to FB F200. That is the hex code for the color I'm using for this particular text. Okay, so come over here, hit Ctrl T, scale this down like this, and come over here and place it in here like this. Okay, make sure it's actually centralized. Okay, that's for that, guys. So scale this up a little like this. That's for that. So after we are done with this, the next thing I have to do is to apply some drop down shadow to this. So I'll come over here, double click on the layer. Okay, the layer styles comes up. So on the shadow part, I'll come over here and set my shadows as follows. So the color remains on black precisely. Here's the hex code for the shade of black I'm actually using. Okay, blending mode is set on multiply. The opacity for this is set on about let me say this is okay. For this, the angle is okay. Make sure this is checked. The distance should be reduced a little bit to about this. Okay, likewise the spread should be increased as well. Okay, so that's for the spread. Okay, so after I'm done with that, I'll have to reduce the size to about this. I think this is okay. So I'll leave other settings the way they are and click on the OK button. That is for that, guys. So after I'm done with this, I'll have to place in the complement of the season text. Okay, so I'll scale down the size of this to something like this. So I'll type in the complement of the season. Okay, so I'll change the fill to white precisely and change the font to Montserrat. Okay, so I'll just change this to medium. It's okay. Control T, scale this down like this and place it somewhere here like this. Okay, and make sure it's aligned to the middle. You check. Okay, hold Control A to make a quick selection of your canvas. Pick your move tool and make sure the layer is selected or the text and click on align horizontally. Control D to deselect. Okay, that's for that, guys. So I can still adjust this a little and adjust this a little, scale this up as well. Okay, but if you notice this text is having issue with the board, so I have to create a feel of contrast between the board and the text so that it will be more visible on the board. So I'll double click on it. So the layer styles comes up. I'll apply another shade of shadows to this. Okay, precisely. So for this, I'll be setting the opacity, reducing the opacity a little bit like this. Okay, the contrast, the angle, it remains the same. Okay, the distance should be scaled up a little, downward a little. So the spread precisely, I would like to adjust the spread a little as well. Okay, I'll leave it like this and leave other settings really and click on the OK button. Okay, this is the effect on the text precisely. Okay, that's for that, guys. So after I'm done with this, so I would like to group this together. Okay, I like to group them together and call this main text. Okay, that's for that. So the next phase has to do with the Santa Claus image. So I'll drag down the Santa Claus image over here and enable it. Okay, right click to convert it to a smart object so that the image won't lose its actual quality. And one of the benefits of converting a layer to a smart object is that it enables you to come back and make adjustments at any point in time in the project. Okay, so at any point in time, I can still come back to the image and make a little adjustment to it. So that's for that. So I'll align this horizontally to the middle. And okay, so after I'm done with this resizing the Santa Claus image, so I need to sharpen the look of this Santa Claus image by using the camera raw precisely. So here I have the Santa Claus image and I'll be working on the image to make it look sharp. Okay, so the first I'll start with the basics precisely. So on the basics, I'll start with working on the exposure. Okay, scaled up the exposure, and likewise the contrast. I'll boost up the highlights on the contrast as well. Okay, so after I'm done with that, I'll move to the next, which is the highlight as well. Scale this down. Okay, so somewhere like this. Shadows as well need to be worked upon. Scale up this like this. Okay, need to add more highlights to the shadows precisely. Okay, so after I'm done with that, the whites, okay, on this image, I would like to increase it a little bit. Okay, this image already has more of white. The black as well needs to be boosted up more as well. Okay, So that's for the white and the black. Okay, so the main focus here will have to do with this texture precisely. So the texture, I'll have to increase the texture precisely so that the it will have that crunchy texture effect on the face of the Santa precisely. Okay, don't like the surface so smooth. So I'll increase the clarity as well to this. I think this is okay. I'm going to stop this a little. Okay. I'll also advise that you should desaturate your image so that when you're doing your final color grading and your color mixing, your colors will be much balanced. It is preferable to actually desaturate your image so that you won't work with oversaturated image on your project. So after we're done with this, I'll move to details precisely. On the details, I'll add a little feel of sharpening to this, okay? So scale the sharpening to about this is okay, and the noise should be scaled up like this. So after I'm done with this, I'll click on the OK button. So you see the effect on the Santa, okay? This is how the Santa is actually looking like. So the next thing I have to do is to apply some little adjustment layer to this. So I'll start with the selective colors precisely. Click on the click mark so that it will affect only the Santa Claus. So on the neutrals, I will scale up this precisely. So I'll scale this like this. Okay, that is for the neutrals. Okay. So after I'm done with this, I'll have to come over here and invert the selection. Okay, so after inverting the selection, I need the effects to be on the white parts of this garment precisely. So I'll pick my brush precisely over here. Okay, right click and make sure you're working with the soft round brush. Scale up the flows and opacity so that the scaling up the flows and opacity enable you to control the strength of your brush actually. Okay, so the flows enables you to control the strength of your brush. Use the open and close bracket key beside your P button to scale up and scale down the size of your brush. Okay, and make sure your foreground color is set on white. The white enables me to regain what is hidden on this black marks layer. Okay, so Ctrl I invert, Ctrl I invert as well. So I'll just apply the effect on these regions using the white. Okay, so if I make use of the black, I'm applying back the previous adjustment on this precisely. So I'll just quickly speed up by applying this to all the white regions precisely. Okay. So I need to whiten up the image. So after you're done with this, the next thing you have to do is has to do with applying color balance to this. Okay, so I'll come over here all the way to the color balance precisely. So I'll apply the color balance, click on the clip marks precisely. So I'll work on the midtones and the highlights basically. So on these midtones, I would like to boost up this way like this. Okay, so I'm trying to add more of the reds to this like this. Okay, come over to the highlights and do the same to the highlights as well. So you boost up the highlights as well like this. Okay, so after you're done with that, the next thing you have to do is to also apply this only on the garments precisely. So I'll come over here where I have this layer, hold Alt left click and drag this mask layer over here to replace the mask layer. Okay, on this end I hit Ctrl Shift I to invert this. Okay, so if you notice, it's only affecting the garment. Okay, so and it's also affecting the face, so I'll take this out of the face, okay, by using the black. So I'll use black to hide this precisely. So if I brush this way, I'm taking it out of the face of Santa precisely. Okay, that's for this, guys. So I can also still choose to use it like this and take it out from this as well. Okay, that's for that. So after we are done with this, so I move to the next phase of duplicating this adjustment as well. So I hit Ctrl G to duplicate this, hold Alt in between the two layers and create that clipping effect. Okay, so the next thing I would like to do is to hold Alt, scale, return your foreground color to white, hold, select the marks, hold Alt and click on backspace to fill back the marks. Okay, so I'll invert this by hitting Ctrl I. Okay, select white precisely and apply this only on the face of Santa precisely like this. So after we are done with this, the next thing I'll have to do is to scale down the actual opacity for this image. So I'll scale this down to about 6. Okay, or scale it up a little so that you still have some of the feel on this. Okay, so I don't need the adjustment to be heavy, okay, on Santa precisely. So I'll scale this down very well. I think this is okay like this. So after I'm done with this, the next thing I'll be applying is the curves precisely. So I'll apply curves to this, click on the clip marks. Okay, so for this I'll apply a little feel of highlights like this and adjust my shadows this way like this. Okay, so I can still come over here and scale down this a little bit. I think this is okay like this. So after we are done with this, I move to applying the hues and saturations. Okay, adjustment layer, click on the clip marks. Okay, for this I'll have to boost up the saturation a little bit so that I can gain the colors and balance them up properly on the design. So I'll boost up this to about this. So I'm trying to boost up the reds precisely. So for this, I'll still come back here and scale down this a little. Okay, for this, I would like to scale down this a little as well. Okay, that's for that, guys. So after I'm done with this, I'll come over here. Okay, select this layer here, hold Shift, select the last layer, hit Ctrl G to group this and call this Santa. Okay, add a vector mask to this, pick your gradient tool, make sure you are working with the black and white precisely. Okay, make sure your gradient, your mask layer is selected. Okay, invert your selection by setting this as black on your foreground. Come over here, hold Shift, left click and drag like this to apply the adjustments. Okay, so after you are done with this, the next thing you have to do has to do with applying the text on this region, that is with Love from YJ Digital text over here. So I'll come over here, create a rectangle precisely, okay, of this size. Okay, so after I'm done, set the fill to white. Okay, after you're done setting the fill to white, pick your text tool, left click and type in the text, which is with Love from YG Okay, so I'll hit Ctrl T, scale this down and set it to the middle like this. Okay, that's for that. Pick your move to scale this to, let me say, bold. is okay like this, and change this to white, the fill to white. So but before working on this, I'll start with this. So I'll come over here under the property panel. In case you don't have your property panel here, you can enable it from the windows as well. Okay, so for this I'll add a fill of curve to this, a little curve to this. Okay, after you're done with the curves, the next thing you have to do is to come over here, double click on this. We'll go to the layer styles. So on the layer styles, we'll start with this precisely. So we'll set this as follows: styles, inner bevel, chisel, soft, 1000 is the depth up. Size should be set as follows precisely. Your contour should be set on this, okay? The cone inverted, okay? And your blending mode should be set as follows. Opacity should be set as follows. This is the hex code for the color I'm using on these ends, okay? Likewise, this end, this is the hex code for the color I'm using on this end. So after I'm done with that, so the next thing we'll have to look at, we'll check on the strokes precisely. So strokes can be set as follows as well: opacity and normal, blending mode, position outside. 2 is the size. So on this end, I'll be making use of the gradient. So on this end, here is the hex code for the gradient I'm using, okay? And this is the opacity. The opacity is set on 55. While on this end, here is the hex code to the color I'm actually using, and this is the opacity as well, 55 as well. Click on the OK. So apart from that, we'll be making use of the gradient overlay. On the gradient overlay as well, you set them as follows precisely, okay? So I'll be making use of this shade of white precisely, and this is the opacity set on 49. This is set on 0. Okay, so it is not relevant. It's still the same hex code for the colors. So I'll click on OK. So I'll come over here on the drop down shadows and adjust this as follows as well. This is set on black. This opacity will be set on 8 precisely, will be okay. For this, angle is set on 90 precisely. This is checked, okay. The distance should be increased as well, okay. So likewise, the spread should be reduced as well, okay. And likewise, this as well should be increased. That is, the size should be increased to about, let me say, 20. Okay, I think this is okay like this. So after you're done, you leave other settings in media and click on the OK button. So after you're done with that, you come over here, turn off this layer, okay. You stand visible by selecting the center layer. Select the center layer. Make sure the center layer is the only visible layer at the top, okay. Make sure every other layer at the top here is turned off. So select the center layer precisely and hold Alt Ctrl Shift E to stand visible. Right click and convert it to a smart object, okay. So after you're done with that, take this above like this, come over here, enable the rectangle back, okay. For this, hold Alt in between the two layers to create a clipping mask like this. So I'll come over here to filter all the way to blur and apply Gaussian blur to the stamped image and scale down the effect to about, let me say, this is okay like this, and click on the OK button, okay. So after you're done with that, the next thing you have to do is to make a duplicate of this rectangle. So I hold Alt, left click and drag the rectangle up this way, create a clipping mask as well, okay. Right click this time around and clear layer styles, okay. So after you're done clearing the layer style, change the blending mode to multiply and scale down the opacity to about 50 precisely. So you come over here, placing your text inside the rectangle. So you hold Control, left click on your rectangle. You notice if I hold Control, my rectangle, the mouse icon changes to this when I have the rectangle thumbnail. So I left click to create a quick selection of the rectangle. Pick my move to align horizontally, and okay, it's already aligned horizontally. So I'll pick the text precisely and align it horizontally and vertically inside the rectangle. So I hit Ctrl D to actually deselect. Okay, that's for that, guys. So I'll come over here. I can still choose to scale down the size of the rectangle like this. Okay, so I'll select the rectangle with the text only. Okay, so I'll scale it down like this and position it to somewhere here like this. So that's for the rectangle. So after I'm done with this, the next phase has to do with making use of other design elements I have over here. So, but before that, I would like to group this together and call this I'll call this YJ. Okay, let me call it the YJ text. Okay, YJ text precisely. Okay, that is for this. So I'll move to the next phase by enabling other set of images. So I'll start with the bulb. So I'll enable the bulb. Okay, hit Ctrl T and scale it down. Place it over here. Okay, place one over here. Okay, make a duplicate, Ctrl J, scale this down as well. Scale down the duplicated layer and place it over here. So after you're done with that, and come over here all the way to the adjustment and apply the hues and saturation. Click max it only on this. Okay, click on this hand icon, left click on the ball or the globe icon and actually make adjustments on the hues as well. So I'll adjust the hues to about, let me see, okay, this is red enough like this, and boost up the saturation to about this is okay. So after you're done with that, I can choose to group them together, hitting Ctrl G and call this bulb. Okay, so I'll make a duplicate by hitting Ctrl J and place the other this way. Right click and flip horizontally. Okay, Ctrl T to transform. Right click and flip horizontally. Okay, for this I'll switch this to over here and click on this to click mask the effect on the bigger bulb over here. That's for that. So after I'm done with that, I'll come over here, enable this other set of flowers, Ctrl T, scale it down like this and place them somewhere here like this. Okay, so they should be behind this. Okay, so I'll scale this down like this. So they should be behind this group layer over here and scale it down like this. So you can choose to scale it down like this precisely. Okay, that's what this. So I'll hit Ctrl J, right click, Ctrl T, right click and flip horizontally and place the other one at this far end like this as well. Okay, so that's for that, guys. So after we're done with this, I'll enable the flower over here. Okay, I enable this flower. Okay, select the flower and place it somewhere like this as well. Okay, so we have this looking like this. So after we are done with this, we'll move to the phase of making some little adjustments. So for this set of bulb over here, I'll adjust their position by placing them somewhere around here like this. Okay, as well. Okay, while for this other bulb, I'll hit Ctrl T and adjust their position to somewhere like this as well. Okay, so you have to be doing more of an eyeballing situation. So we'll make sure that this is actually behind this other set of images. So this time around, I'll take the bulbs this behind this set of flowers precisely this way, so that this part of the bulbs won't be visible. Okay, it will look like it's actually from the set of flowers precisely. So I think we are good to go like this. So after you are done, I'm going to still come over here, increase the size of the board a little bit, scale it up like this, scale it down a little. Okay, I think this is okay like this. Okay, so after we are done with this, I'll move to adding this set of gift box. So I'll hit Ctrl T, scale this down, rotate to this angle, and scale this down again, and place one over here like this. Okay, enable this as well and place on this other end like this. So I'll choose to still scale this down a little. So scale this up as well like this. Okay, so I'll come over here, create a duplicate and place it over here, scale this down. So you scale it down and place it to somewhere around like this. That's for this. So for this, I'll select this Hold Alt, create a duplicate and scale this down like this as well. Okay, so after you're done, you hit the check. So I'll apply a fill of motion blur to this precisely. Okay, so on the motion blur precisely, I will set the angle to about, let me see, okay, this is okay like this. So I'll just hold Alt, drag and apply on this other set of gift box over here. Sorry, on this other set of gift box at the top here. Okay, to apply the same feel of motion on this. So after we are done with this, we'll move to making little adjustments to this set of flowers. So I'll come over here, select them and group them together. Okay, so I'll select this set of flowers and group them. Okay, let me call them side flower and apply this. Okay, the curves precisely. So clip mask this on the flower precisely. Okay, like this is okay. Okay, so I think this is okay like this. So that's for this, guys. So at the final phase of this design, okay, you can see that this design is actually coming to life, guys. It's actually coming to life. So at the final phase of this design, I would like to make little adjustments, okay? But before doing that, I would like to adjust this set of layers as well. Okay, so the final phase of this design, I have to stand visible so that I can do the final color grading. So I'll come to the layer at the top that is visible and stand visible by holding Ctrl or Shift E to stand visible. Right click and convert it to a smart object. After converting to a smart object, come over here to your filter and apply the camera raw. So on the camera raw precisely, we'll be working on the details and the color mixer. So on the details here, I would like to increase the sharpening a little bit, likewise with the noise as well. So come over here to the color mixer and start working on the hues and the saturation precisely. So on the hues and saturation over here, I will have to work on the yellows and the greens precisely. So I'll scale down this like this. Okay, and the greens as well a little bit. Okay, so on the saturations as well, I'll work on the reds by boosting up the red as well. Okay, this is more of an eyeballing situation. You let your eyes to actually guide you. Okay, there is no actual way of doing this. So I'll come over here on the yellows as well and scale this down like this. I need to scale down the yellows Okay, so about let me see, this should be okay like this. Okay, for the greens as well, let me scale it down. So how about this? Okay, so after I'm done with that, click on the OK button. So I notice that the camera raw is affecting the shade of yellow over here. So I'll enable back the camera raw. So I'll scroll down to where I have the main text layer. Okay, hold Control over here, Control on your keyboard, and left click on the T icon for the text. Left click on this, okay, to select the Merry Christmas text. Close the group and come back to here where you have the camera roll. Click on this smart filter over here. So you come over here where you have this. Make sure this is set on black. Hit Alt backspace, okay. You regain back your actual color of yellow, okay. Come to your property panel and increase the feathering. So about, let me see, I think this is good enough for the feathering like this. So after you're done with that, hit Ctrl D to actually deselect. Okay, that's for that. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. If you find this tutorial video helpful, do well to give this video a like, do well to smash the like button. And if you are new to the channel and you're yet to subscribe, do well to smash the subscribe button. Smash the subscribe button, turn on the post notification bell to get notification whenever I upload my new content. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you guys for always watching. Okay, please and please don't forget to give this video a like. The link to the exercise file is in the video description. Do well to check the video description. If you have any question, any comments, you can leave your questions and comments in the comment section. And if you're yet to join the Telegram group, do well to join the Telegram group. The link is in the pinned comment below. Thank you guys for watching.